Our parents did what was needed for the children they had.
Say how's the fam?
What's going on, everybody? This is Tyler, and you're listening to How's the Fam, your podcast about family, friends, and growth. And today's topic is why parenting is difficult, just trying to establishing a groove, and then the real reason for birthday parties. Now, if that sounds good to you, please stick around because you are in for an incredible episode. Now, typically I have a host. My host is not here. My co-host, my bad. My co-host is not here because I broke a promise. That promise was, if you listen to the previous episode, that I would not wait till the last minute to do the episode that you're listening to right now. And I did not keep that promise, all right? But before I get into all of that, I want to go ahead and get straight into the topic of parenting is difficult. So me and my best friend were having a conversation because my mom was coming into town. And in this conversation, he was talking about our upbringing. Like once we started, had the ability to drive, how our parents treated us. And he recognized that we operated with a tremendous, he ain't lying, a tremendous amount of freedom. Like we could stay out late. Our parents didn't pester us about where we were. Our parents didn't question where we were, why we were there, who we were hanging with. Primarily because they knew, I knew his father well. His father knew me well. We were best friends since 7th grade. We were both in band. We were around each other fairly often, and all of those different things. Right now, he believes that a different parenting style placed on him at a younger age would have ruined him for the future. And the reason he believes that is that the independence we had, yes, we got into a lot of trouble and we got into a lot of things that, were difficult to get out of. But here's the thing, we went through that at 16, 17, 18, right? So once we hit mid 20s and things of that nature, college, mid 20s, all of that craziness and trying to figure out how to talk to certain women and how to wanted to go out to clubs and wanted to be seen and wanted to be noticed and have the best stuff so people can appreciate, all of that was already gone. It's just completely gone. Even to this day, I've never kept a regular haircut, to be honest with you. But I'm not pressed for a haircut because those days are long gone. I will get a haircut when I get a haircut. I will get nice clothes. I will wear nice clothes when I need to wear nice clothes, right? And some of that stems from the parenting style of our parents. And the thing is, our parents did what was needed for the children they had. And I challenged him on his belief because I was like, if you had been a girl, right, and your father operated with that type of freedom, laissez-faire type of parenting, right? Would you consider yourself successful and how do you feel and of course it was an unfair question. I recognize that it was an unfair question, but his double back to me was that, parenting is difficult, and for that reason, for all the different factors, it is difficult, right? We have to recognize our parents had jobs, right? Our parents had to sustain us. They had to do what they had to do to make sure that not only themselves were fed and clothed and housed, but they had enough resources for us too. And that creates a lot of pressure. And that pressure, they rose to it because we're here to this day. If you're listening to me in some way, shape, or form, you're doing it, right? You got internet, you have a device to watch it on, and you have time to sit down and watch it. And for that, you can be grateful. And can you thank your parents for that, whether they did what you consider a great job or a bad job? I would say absolutely. And I, for one, I'm extremely appreciative of the freedom my parents gave me, specifically because it allowed me to just discover the world through my own lens. For so long, your parents do the best that they can. They teach you not to touch the stove. And if you choose to touch the stove after the fact, you get burnt and you deal with it. But I feel like once you start getting older, it's almost like your parents are they're like, don't touch the stove. They keep telling you all these different things. But my parents, once I got older, now keep in mind, me and him are also the youngest children in our family. So our parents are also tired too. And they probably already been around the block, tried all this, tried all that, and was like, you know what? Just do what you're going to do, boy, And, some of that probably had a major factor on it too. But I agree with him that if we had helicopter parents at the age, like at those younger ages, or at that critical age of when we were driving and operating with autonomy, that we would not be where we are. And he, being a single guy, like he operates in a different capacity than me, being a married with kids guy, right? Like my responsibility is, in my opinion, I have to show up to work, and when I show up to work, I have to be the best me that I can be, whether I want to be there or not. Like whether I'm feeling great or not. Like I can't make excuses for not providing for my family. I have to always provide, right? And whether that's toxic or not, that's up to you to decide. But for me and mine, I'm gonna bring home this cheddar. You feel me? But for him, it's like, hey, either you hunt. If you don't hunt, you don't eat. And so for him, it's like I have to operate, because if I don't do this, nobody's gonna do it for me. I have nobody to lean back on, and that's him operating as a single guy. And on top of that, he's single and he's like getting to know people, and yeah. I just use like getting to know people. But yeah, he's a single guy, right? And so he's a single guy. He's in demand, so he's like he's putting himself out there, but he really, like, even he recognizes that it's a dangerous world when you're putting yourself out there, right? You have people who have nefarious means, where whatever those nefarious means may like show themselves. So I just wanted to share that with people, just because I thought it was an interesting conversation, and I do believe he was right. Recognize that every child being different is a factor, and all these other different things is a factor, but parents, just do the best that you can with the resources that you have, and do not be upset if you fall short, because as long as you've given it the best that you have, like, and you've honestly put a strong foot forward, then you can at least give the justification, right, that I did what I could. Now, establishing a groove is another topic that I wanted to talk about. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because my groove got shattered. Like absolutely shattered. Absolutely sludge hammer to the wall, Kool-Aid man through the wall type of stuff, right? And what happened was I got food poisoning on Sunday. And that food poisoning put me out on my butt on Monday. Like I was a wrap. It was funny because Keisha after the fact was like, that was the first time I've ever looked at you and was completely unattracted. I was like, so you have been unattracted, just not completely unattracted to. But yeah, I was out of here, man. Like it was bad. Like I don't even think some of my coworkers hit me up, was like, yo man, you ain't been on Instagram today. Like, you alright? And keep in mind, like I only have so much paid time off at the place that I like work. And so those were not planned days off. I was like, no, my PTO, we don't have any sick leave. So I was very upset. And like I tried to get in on Tuesday, but I guess I tried too much too soon, and my body like immediately rejected all the recovery we did from resting on Monday. And like I was down and pretty much out for the good part of the day, which led me to Wednesday when my mom was supposed to get here, which she did get here. Like my mom got here, and I ended up having to go to work because work has to get done. I make no excuses for providing for my family, right? But by going to work, I neglected being with my family, and like I hated that. Like that hurt me because I'm at work. People over here, doing what they're gonna do, asking what they're gonna ask, trying to get there, because everybody has their own agenda, right? Trying to achieve their agenda, and I'm like just a check that they gotta hit. But if I'm not there, I'm not the check, right? So it is what it is. I had to show up. I had to do what I had to do. But by doing that, I had to neglect being with my mom, like my own, my mom. And as a youngest child, as a youngest boy, that sucks, right? Because I'm a mama's boy. Proud. I should get a shirt that says mama boy. But so I picked her up. I got to spend some quality time with her in terms of like the afternoon. I got off relatively late actually. But yeah, I just finished working from home, and like I was sitting with her and just kind of thinking like, man, as I sit here today on this well, I was just sitting with her, just enjoying the time. And like when my mom gets here, whether the kids are watching or not, she got to watch some people get murked, and that's what I love about my mom. Whether it's whatever type, I think we watched a movie called Chase on. I think it was on Hulu, but it was great. It was a great movie. Jason Statham joint. But yeah, we got to spend some quality time. We got to have some good conversations, and she was just saying, you're doing a good job, which is always reassuring. And I told her like, hey, so I recognize this character trait that I believe I got from dad. Like I'm relatively not trusting. Like I'm noticing the older I get, the more like restrictions I put on myself, and I'm recognizing I'm not as trusting as I would like to be, right? Because I'm like in my mind, in order to get from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, at some point you have to trust somebody with something that because your time is better spent other places. And I'm recognizing like I don't like to trust people in that capacity, especially like I don't like to trust people with my kids. I don't like to trust people with like my time, and it's starting to affect me because the more that I get into, the more I need to start relinquishing, right? Because like I want to coach soccer. Like I honestly enjoy it. Like we had an undefeated season, baby, for those who remember. But I want to coach soccer. I want whether my girls on the team or not. But I can't do that operating in the capacity that I'm operating because it's just not enough hours in the day and it's not enough time for me. And like there are hobbies that I enjoy, like I truly enjoy. They rest, like they relax me from like even my childhood. My brother's into them, best friends into them. There are hobbies I enjoy that I can't, really sink my teeth into anymore because it's almost like by the time I get the chance to do them, like time's up. Like it's time to rest so that you can wake up in the morning and be the best version of you. So those are all things that I was just kind of going through in my mind and recognizing that she was just like, maybe you not being trusting comes from both of us because of like the past. And if you listen to any interview that I've been on with other podcasters, you've heard that story. Pretty much is the story of my eldest brother and how he was groomed at a young age by somebody my parents trusted and like taken advantage of, right? And it's very unfortunate, but it's one of those bought sense characteristics that is a learned sense characteristic for me. So at some point I'm gonna have to deal with that, even though that day may not be the day. So, but in terms of like getting into a groove and really settling in it, I'm gonna have to establish another groove, man. Because the food poisoning, like I cannot believe I let Thursday get here without recording another episode. And it's like the biggest disappointment to me because specifically I promised Keisha that I would not do this. Like recording episodes by myself is cool. Like I have no problem doing it. It really doesn't bother me. But I also recognize like having her here keeps me focused, keeps me sharp, keeps me on my P's and Q's. But it's like, it's reassuring. Like that's my baby. Anytime I'm having a conversation with Keisha, it's almost like you giving the audience a peek into real conversations that me and her have, or giving the audience like giving you guys an opportunity to see like where some of the best advice and best thoughts come from between us, right? And so when it's just me, like, and it's not shoot from the hip episode, like these are going to be the topics anyway. But hearing Keisha's take on parenting being difficult, that would have been great. So I got to come up with another routine. What a tragic loss on my end. And here's the thing, like, and when it comes to establishing a routine, the best thing to do is not to focus on the end goal, but to actually focus on the habit, right? You want to focus on the habit because that's the thing that you can control. Like you can have goals all day. In fact, I believe some people always set goals at the end of the year. I set goals, right? But the best way to achieve those goals is once you've been like, yo, this is my goal. Like these are the daily habits that I can start today to achieve those goals. And so in terms of starting to groove, this is also a best practice, right? The best practice is like my goal is to record the podcast before Thursday. So honestly, the best way to do it would be like, hey, honey, on this day, we're going to record, right? And It's that simple. Is that and once you be like this is the day we're gonna record, I will give her the notes early, like I always do. I let her prepare, which she never does, and I don't really do either. Let's be honest with you. Like my preparation isn't super extensive. It should be, but it's not, and that's probably one of the things that holds the podcast back. But that's neither here nor there. But that's what I need to do, and I have not done it. Right, and it's disappointing because the main person affected is me. And then the last topic I really want to get into is what birthday parties are really all about. And birthday parties are truly like. And here's the thing, parents. I got this wrong for a long time. It wasn't until the last birthday, the end result of the last birthday, that it finally clicked in my head like what who birthdays are truly for. So I used to be in the camp like, yo, birthday parties are truly for the parents or the child, right? The parents or the child. And I'm just like, yeah, man. Like, cause the mother, you got to celebrate having a baby, and then the kid gets to be like, yo, I'm 1 year older, so I got, that ain't it, right? Whole point of a birthday party is for networking, right? And I did not recognize that, but yeah, it's an opportunity to literally blend friends, right? Blend, mesh, get to know. Like a lot of business can be done at a birthday party. And in my mind, I was like, yo, man, like it's not the time or the place. Like a birthday party, no. But there's no better time and there's no better place. Because what you gonna do? Watch kids all day? I've done that. I've done that for like 4 years in a row. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. Kids laugh, kids play, kids cry, kids fight, all that good stuff. There's nothing new, right? There's nothing to watch. At the end of the day, everybody gonna go the kids gonna go their separate ways, and if they ever meet again, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember you, or not, whatever. But for the adults, right? For the adults in the room, for the men, the women in the room, like there's an opportunity there, and there's an opportunity to number one catch up, be like, yo, man, where you at in life? How things been? Like, and then after that, there's an opportunity to learn. Like, hey, what have you been through that this time that you hadn't gone through before? And like just literally that learning experience, right? I was talking to one of my friends. He's a whiz when it comes to credit, which is funny because like a lot of people think credit. Again, this is all information learned from the birthday party. You think credit is for personal, right? You always hear, oh, you got to be careful about your inquiries and all this other stuff. No. My partner operated on a higher level than that. He was like, nah, man, you need credit for your LLC. And he was like, you need to do this, then you need to do that, then you need to do that. It's like, the reason you do that is because when they hit you up, you need to look official. And I was just like, word? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna send you a checklist. Make sure you go through that checklist. Then you hit me up when you finish the checklist. I'll tell you what the next step is. And I was just like, I bet. And like that's how business is done. Like at a birthday party, it's inside. It's spontaneous. It's very natural. And it's crazy. Like I think my oldest daughter kind of picked up on it a little bit, right? Like she kept coming downstairs. She kept trying to be around and stuff like that. Which I don't mind as long as she's not being like disruptive, like trying to talk over adults and stuff like that. I'm cool with it. And yes, I don't want her talking over me while I'm talking, right? It's adorable to an extent, right? But yeah, as long as she's not like too aggravating or anything, yeah, she could be around. And even she was just like, that was neat, And it's like, hey man. Even the kids notice that maybe birthday parties aren't necessarily for them. And now it wasn't my oldest's birthday, but I'm just saying she noticed like at her sister's birthday that that's what mommy and daddy were doing. So those are my three topics. Let's see. I did want to quickly say, just for like future references, for anybody who watches this in the far future, Jussie Smollett, he got sentenced. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. I haven't mentioned it, but like they are, I guess, getting separated and going through a divorce, and it's kind of messy. But over here, I should care. What's crazy? I feel like a lot of people care, but I'm just not one of those people who like spends a lot of time with it. If anything, the only reason I really know about it is because the Breakfast Club. They have a thumbnail on it like consistently, right? What else? There was one other very significant thing happening in the world, but that's how the ball rolls sometimes. But with all that being said, we like to end every episode with words of encouragement. But before we get right into that, if you made it this far into the episode, first and foremost, thank you. You are who we consider the fam. Please consider leaving a review for this podcast. If you're listening to Spotify or the Apple version, yeah, leave a review. If you're listening to YouTube, drop a comment with your favorite piece of advice in this episode. And in fact, if you liked it and you made it this far, go ahead and leave a comment letting us know what you would like us to discuss in the future. And let's see, what is the last part? Oh, also leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Boom! Let's go. Now, my genuine words of encouragement, I actually wrote it down because last week I was struggling. Is the reason I mentioned Kim Kardashian like right at the very end. It's like, oh no, why'd you mention? Because people got mad at Kim. And maybe that's like the last thing. But she is like, if you want to be successful in life, you got to work hard. And like some people are like, good message, wrong messenger, all the same. I agree that yes, you should try your hardest. But the problem is, even through hard work, there's some people who work extremely hard and they'll never get to where Kim Kardashian or like the Jay-Z's or heck, even the Elon Musk and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, right? Like you may never get that far. You may never even get to like the 100,000, the 100,000 mark and all this other stuff, even with your hardest work. But the thing is, even though hard work gets people to different places, you should try hard anyway. Like you should try your hardest, even at the times where trying your hardest isn't gonna be enough. And like the reason you do that is through failure, you're able to learn lessons that, just learning it can do. You can read every book in the world about salesmanship, but until you actually try to close a sale, none of that means nothing, right? If anything, you could go out there and never read a book about salesmanship, learn how to sell by trying to sell and watching other people sell, and literally probably write your own book that'll be better than the books that you would have read in the first place, right? It's no time added. I talk to people sometimes and they're like, yo, I would like to have a podcast. And I'm just like, hey man, yeah, this is very simple. Like you just pull out your phone and you put in like a headphone, something where you can get some clean audio and you record that, right? In the video form. And if you have an iPhone, like it's already 100% built in for you. You have iMovie, and through iMovie, you could do this and that. In my mind, it's very, very simple. And you upload it to your distribution site. Your distribution site pushes it to Apple and Spotify. And then you just upload the video version to YouTube. You put all your information in, push. And it's done, right? At that point, it's just a marketing game. And the marketing part is the difficult part. But in my mind, I know that because I've been through it. Like, I've been through, I don't know, what is it, episode 107? Yeah, this will be episode 107. 107 repetitions of the activity. In my mind, it's trivial. But there's a person from the outside looking in, asking for advice and trying to figure it out. Like, they're like, it's just, everything I just said is foreign. And it will be foreign until you actually take the first step. So I've said in the past, you got to start before you're ready. This is what I mean. But on top of start before you're ready, you should try your hardest regardless of whether you feel like you're going to be successful, like your hardest effort will be successful or not. So that's what I wanted to leave people with. Let me say it in the cleanest form. Try your hardest, even if your best. Try your best, even if your best won't be enough, right? That's what I wanted to say. Try your best, even if your best won't be enough. And with that, I think we have the shortest episode of How's the Fam, and I'm okay with it. You guys, thank you for listening, and we will see you next Friday. Y'all, I actually don't know how I end episodes when I'm by myself. I guess here's what I do. Thank you. God bless. Peace.